Hello, 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 Mosaic Souls. Mosaic Souls, Rachel here, artist and Mosaic Soul / Mosaic Soul mentor. Always a teacher, always a student first and a teacher second. Anyways, today I wanted to talk about how being an introvert is very different from not wanting to be visible, because I keep hearing this over and over in a lot of different people's videos or a lot of people's conversations. And there's this misperception that if you're an introvert, you're shy, or you don't have a desire to be visible, or you don't have a desire to connect with others. And I just kind of want to dispel that belief or that myth, because that's not true. Because being a huge introvert, I'm a huge introvert, right? I've always been a huge introvert. I consider myself a loner in the sense that, as like one of my best friends, she says that I self validate. I self validate myself a lot. I love that she says that, but I love that saying. I self validate as an introvert. But to me, an introvert is someone who not only self validates, but also someone who recharges on their own. So the way that they sort of recharge and fill up their cup, their energetic frequency, their energy cup, is usually through being alone in a state of solitude, right? And so to me, that's what an introvert is. It's not that introverts don't like to connect with others. It doesn't mean that we don't like to be visible or share our journey or business or artwork or whatever, to be visible online or whatever, or to be visible in the world. I don't think that's what introversion is. I think being shy and not wanting to be visible is very different from being an introvert, because another reason why I think there's a different distinction in these two, and the reason why it's been kind of bugging me, is because there's this misconception that if you are someone who does self-validate, if you are someone who prefers to recharge by being in a state of solitude, then that automatically means that you don't want to connect with others, or you don't want to be visible, or you're shy, or you don't like to be around other people. And that's not necessarily the truth. Like, being an introvert, being someone who I consider to be very vastly a loner and someone who self-validates a lot, I do like to connect with other human beings. I do like to be visible and share my art, or share my journey, or share my thoughts, or share my businesses, or whatever. I do enjoy that. And so it's very different. I think, I think people starting to differentiate now. I think people who have visibility, not issues, but are challenged with the idea of being visible to the public eye, is very different from an introvert. You can have someone who's extroverted, like another friend of mine who's vastly extroverted, but just does not to like to be visible at all on social media. This person, loves to connect with other human beings, loves big crowds, likes to be around lots of people. But when it comes to being visible on social media, they do not like to have any sort of visibility in social media or online or anything like that. So to me, I think there's a very huge difference in, not being shy or not wanting to be visible to the public eye versus being introvert. Those are not the same thing. So I think I just wanted to talk about that in this video, because I think this misconception that I keep hearing people who are introverts say this, I think this would liberate them and just recognize that no, you just don't have a desire to be visible, and that's perfectly fine. And if you do have a desire to be visible, there's also things that you can do to work on that. And I think one of the things about that also is that the reason why I think this is the thing that's bugging me about it is there's this belief that introversion, I think the not wanting to be visible, not saying that everyone should be visible, right? Because I wanted to bring this back to this movie called The Red Circle, or I think it's The Circle or The Red Circle or something. But anyways, it's this movie where this girl decides to make her entire life public or whatever, and it totally goes south, right? And they hook up all this technology to everything, from her waking up, except when she goes to the restroom. But everything from her morning to her night, everything is being on film for the whole world to see, or for this whole organization or something to see, or whatever. And my friend, one of my other friends, sent me a video about us being able to do that, and then having like smarter AI, and eventually we won't have social media because all of our lives will be on display for the whole world to see. And I was like, look, I am not open for that. Like, I'm okay with being visible, but visible in my own fucking way, you know? Like, they reminded me of the Red Circle. Like, the girl almost died, they almost killed her because they were all up in her business trying to tell her how she should live her life and all this other stuff. So I'm not okay with that, right? And so I think that's sort of the perversion of visibility, and why many people have like a complex around being visible in social media, have a complex around, you know, sharing themselves in any capacity online. And so I think that's the you know, perverted side of it. But I think being visible in general, or having a lack of desire, or having a complex around being visible, is very different from being an introvert. The two are not simultaneous at all, right? And I think, you know, and I was going to say that people who have a lack, or have like a complex around being visible, it does come down to confidence, but it also comes down to real, very real, like, issues of like wanting to protect your safety, right? Like feeling safe in your body, feeling safe in your home, feeling safe in your environment, feeling safe from judgment from others and perceptions of others and stuff like that. That's a very real need as a human being, to feel safe, right? So I understand the complex, right? But being an introvert has nothing to do with that. Like me self-validating, and me needing to recharge, or you as an introvert needing to recharge on your own, has nothing to do with wanting or not wanting to be visible online, right? So I think I just wanted to share this insight, because I think that subtle distinction will start to like liberate people in a lot of ways. You can be introverted and be very much so, have a desire to be visible and want to share your life, or share your art if you're an artist, or mosaic soul like me, or share your businesses and stuff like that. You can have a huge desire to do that, and still self-validate, and still need a lot of alone time to recharge, right? So those are two very different energies and that of itself. So I just wanted to bring that to light. And another aspect that I wanted to talk about in being an introvert is very different from not wanting to be visible or being shy, is going back to that piece of safety, right? People who have a complex around being visible, or like not wanting to, you know, share their voice, or have a confidence to be on camera, or have a confidence to share their story, or their insights, or their journey and stuff like that. One, that's perfectly fine if you don't want to do that. But if you do want to do that, and you find that you have a call to do that, like, a lot of that has to do with inner confidence and your ability to share your viewpoint on in the world, and not be berated for it. Let me caveat this next point by saying, if you're going to get online and share any part of your life journey, or whatever, business and stuff, you're going to be ridiculed by somebody. And you also have the opportunity and the wherewithal to block stupid people from being in your world, right? So that's the power that you have. Like, you can block people from commenting or posting on your stuff, right? So that's one of the things. You can censor your reality, right? But also, I was going to, you know, most people say, oh, you just build a thick skin. And yeah, that's a part of it. You can build a thick skin and stuff. Or you could just block stupid people from freaking commenting on your shit. You know what I mean? Like, if people don't rock with you, then go somewhere else. Literally, we have billions of people on the planet. If you don't want to watch my video, if you don't want to hear my music, if you don't want to see my art, if you don't want to hear my viewpoints on life, business, spirituality, whatever the freak you're talking about, right? Then go to somebody else's video. Don't leave a negative comment, you know, trying to tear down someone because you having a bad day, right? So that's my whole take on it, right? Like, I have another channel, and I remember I posted a video like 5-6 years ago, and it was literally like a yoga video, right? That video kind of blew up my channel, and it was a comedic yoga video, and the video started getting all these sort of like a lot of great comments. People were like, but then I started getting a lot of stupid haters, or people who would like comment under my video telling me how comedic yoga isn't a thing, and I should stop doing it, and and Egyptian yoga isn't real, and all this other stuff, right? And I was just like, you know what? I am not here for this conversation. I don't give a damn. Block, and I disabled the comments and disabled the thumbs up and thumbs down on that video. And I was like, whoever is here to resonate with this video will watch the video and they will engage in another way, signing up to my email list or, you know, subscribing to my channel or whatever. Like, I'm not here to have that conversation with other people. I'm not going to argue with you about who I am and what I'm sharing with the world and my insights and the things that I've learned. I ain't got time for it. And I think this goes back to my introverted side where I self-validate, okay? But I was like, look, I don't need you to tell me about blah, 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 blah. So all that is to say, for people who are struggling with the complex of not wanting to be visible, yes, you will face people who feel the need to tell you their opinions on you and your life. But you also have the ability to shut those people down, disable comments, disable likes, thumbs up, thumbs down, or, you know, block certain people from your channel and stuff who are being negative or hatred and all that other stuff, right? So you have the ability to do that. You know, most people in the advice giving space or the personal development world, well, you need to learn to develop a thick skin. People aren't always going to like what you do in business world. Yes, that's very true. But I say, you know, just nip it in the bud, right? Like, you don't have to open yourself up to naysayers of the world, right? Like, the whole point of having a platform or sharing your divine insights or your journey and stuff is because you want to find like-minded people who are on the same page with you, right? Everybody else can go I'm about to say a very, very bad whatever. Everybody else can go, you know, watch the sun. Okay, I was gonna say something more negative, but I'll leave it on a positive way. Like, who cares, right? So anyways, all that is to say, back to my original point of not wanting to be visible and versus being an introvert, two very different topics. But also the complex around not wanting to be visible does come down to the very real need for safety, and that's perfectly fine. But also looking at, you know, your self-confidence, building up your sense of self-worth, building up your sense of, I know who I am, I'm going to share my journey even if I'm not where I am, and being okay with that and sharing whatever that is. Like, if you're trying to be a YouTuber, or if you're trying to be an artist, or if you're trying to be fill in the blank, or if you're starting a business, an online business, like, there is some, you know, aspects of it that requires some level of visibility. And it doesn't necessarily have to be your face, you know, it could be you creating a different character or having someone else be the face of your business. But visibility, or the need for visibility in creating an online brand is, or creating a brand or a business in general, whether you're the personal brand or you're creating a business, is that's just part of business in general, right? And people who struggle with wanting or not wanting to be visible usually comes down to those factors of self-worth, you know, confidence, self-knowledge, self-awareness, and stuff like that, right? I don't think that has anything to do with being an introvert, right? Extroverts and introverts, to me, that just is broken down into how you get your energy, how you recharge. Extroverts are people, in my mind, and from what I've heard other psychologists mention, extroverts are people who recharge, fill up their cup, fill up their energetic cup by being around other humans, right? They like to be around other people. They feel recharged when they are in, you know, and not to say that they don't feel the effects of people who are like negative or have low vibes, right? Because they do too, right? But extroverted people are people who like to be around other people, bounce ideas around, or just being in the presence of others gives them energy. Whereas, not saying that introverts feel depleted, but it can be a side effect. But introverts recharge by being on their own, right? They like to be in their own energy. They like to self-validate. They don't necessarily desire or need other people's opinions to feel whole or validated or feel like they know who they are. Not to say that extroverted people need other people's opinions in order to feel okay with who they are, but they just like the energy exchange. That energy exchange is very different, right? And so that's the difference. That's the key factors in the difference of energies, versus just because you're someone who recharges on your own doesn't mean that you don't like to be around other humans, you know what I mean? Or that you don't like to connect is the thing, right? Introverts like to connect, right? We like to be connect with the people that we like to connect with. We like to, in whatever capacity that shows up. Some people are super introverted, super loners, don't want to connect with people, but like 2 times a year. And some people are introverts where they are a little bit more like me, where I can connect with people on, a semi-weekly, semi-daily / weekly basis, right? So there's a sliding scale to it, right? But I just wanted to put this video out there that there's a huge stark difference between someone who is introverted versus someone who doesn't want to be visible online or visible in the world in a public way, right? And I think one of the other things that is coming up for me that I wanted to share is, I just kind of lost my train of thought, hold on, is being an introvert versus being an extrovert, and the visibility factor is very key to understanding. I was going to say something, hold on, losing my train of thought. Oh, right. So introverts are more likely to want to connect less with humans, right? Other humans. And so I think that's where the trip up comes up, like, because introverts self-charge on their own mostly, right? There's this misperception that they also don't like to connect. And so because there's a less of a desire or need to connect as much as extroverts do, that means that less of connection also means that they don't want to be visible. And that might play into it, right? So I'm not going to say that it's completely disconnected, right? But I think the complex around not wanting to be visible and connection is a little bit different. Yes, an introvert might less likely need to feel the need to like turn on the camera and share their insights and stuff like that. But I find that to be not the case, just from me having clients over the years and dealing with a lot of humans and stuff like that. Even introverts like to connect, you know what I mean? No matter how introverted you think you are, most humans like to connect with other humans to some capacity, right? So even that sort of misperception around it is there, right? So the idea or the sort of fact that like introverts need less connection sort of plays into this idea that they don't like to be visible, or they're shy, or they're less confident, and that's not true at all. You can be an introvert and be highly confident in yourself, you can be an introvert and be highly, have high degree to want to connect with others, and when the time is right for you, right? So I just wanted to like break that misperception and just kind of share where it stems from, right? This misperception that if you're introverted, you're also shy, you're also you're also less confident or something like that. That's not what that means at all. Like, introvert just means I like to recharge on my own. You like to recharge on your own if you're an introvert. You like to self-validate. You like to be in your own energy to feel alive and feel more, vibrant, right? And so that's just the difference, right? It doesn't mean that you have less confidence. It doesn't mean that you don't want to be visible. It could mean those things. You could be introverted and also have a complex of not wanting to be visible, but the two are not simultaneous, are not the same thing, right? So I think I've ranted on enough about this topic right now. So yeah, that's all I wanted to share about why I think being an introvert and not wanting to be visible are not the same things. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely subscribe, give this channel, give this video a thumbs up if you resonated, and let me know your thoughts below. If you're a negative, I will block you. But if you're not, you vibe or whatever, or you have some, constructive feedback, definitely open to that as well. Anyways, talk to you when I talk to you next. Peace, love, and light. And as always, flow with what feels good and let go of what doesn't, because you are divine. And also, another thing I wanted to share is I'm going to start sharing my opinions more vibrantly on this channel because I want to. And so it's an opinion, it's an insight, take it or leave it. So as I always say, flow with what feels good and let go of what doesn't, because you are divine. So see you guys when I see you next. Peace, love, and light.